What is up, guys? It is pull day today. Well, actually, no, it is not the last day of the split. Push legs pull A, then push legs pull B. So today is pull A. Now, as per usual, I weighed in today at 216.2, which is 1.4 pounds up from last time, which means... All right, Bruno Mars just kind of came out of nowhere there. But yes, today is November 11th, which means it is the start of Influencer Week for MyProtein. Code Maxi is 20% off, and items on the site are up to 50% off, so definitely go check that out. When was the last video I recorded? The 6th. The 6th was the leg day, which was 5 days ago, which means I am up 5 pounds. 5 pounds. What am I saying? I am up 1.4 pounds in 5 days, which is less than a week, which is a good amount of weight, honestly. I mean, I am on track to hit 220. That was obviously the goal before I started. 220 is looking actually attainable, which is crazy because 5'9" at, yes, I am actually, well, interesting story here. I'm sure most of you guys are under the impression that I'm 5'8". For a while, I did think I was 5'8". Well, actually, I thought I was 5'8.5", but I just kind of said 5'8" because, you know, if you're 5'8.5", you're not really 5'9". So I went to the doctor earlier this year, probably back in January. Obviously, when you get to the doctor, you measure yourself, and they told me I was 5'11.5", and I was wearing shoes at the time. And when you're 23 years old, they don't really care to check your height. So, you know, I was like 5'11.5". That can't be right. Even with shoes, you know, it doesn't add 3 inches. I kind of just kept that in the back of my mind, and probably months later, my friends were making fun of me because I was short, and I was like, guys, I'm actually like 5'10". And, you know, I kind of just said that, but they told me to go whip out the measuring tape and send them a picture. And so I did. I whipped out the measuring tape, and lo and behold, I was actually 5'10". Well, to be exact, 5'9 3/4". I mean, I'll put the picture on the screen. That was the picture I took. I mean, I guess the last time I measured myself was back in high school when I was 5'8.5". And you know, you do continue growing throughout your late teens, early 20s. So I guess I just grew. I don't know what made me decide to talk about height today, but yes, 5'9 3/4", 220 pounds is a big dude. That is a big ass dude. I mean, I did expect to hit this weight, but it's just a weird feeling, you know, being this close to your end goal. It's always nice. Now, there's one other thing I wanted to mention. 3 days ago on my last rest day, on November 8th, when I uploaded the leg video, that was a rest day. I woke up that morning, I went to the toilet as per usual. That's my morning routine, you know, wake up, go to the toilet. And I was sitting there, you know, on my phone. 10-15 minutes later, I go to stretch my arms. I lift my arms up in the air, and I just start getting a cramp, like in my shoulder blade by my scapula. And I was like, whoa. So I stopped, I put my hands down, and that cramp just didn't go away. And it felt like a really uncomfortable, if any of you have ever slept wrong and gotten like a stiff neck the next morning where you go to move your neck and it kind of hurts, that's what I got in my shoulder blade. That lasted all day throughout my rest day. I massaged it, I heated it, it really bugged me. It felt a lot better the next day. I trained push. It was still an okay workout. Then on legs, it felt even better. Today, it felt a little bit better as well. So I'm probably back to about 90% today, but I am training back. So let's pray that nothing goes wrong and I don't die. If you're seeing this video now, everything probably went okay. That is it for the yap session today. But yes, I'm calling myself 5'9". I'm technically closer to 5'10 than 5'9", but there's got to be something a little off there because I don't think I would have grown 2.5 inches in, well, I was 5'8.5", so it's only 1.5 inches. So maybe I am 5'10". No, fuck it. You know, I'm 5'10". Fuck this. Let's get to the workout. I didn't explain it well in the car segment why I had that kind of, you know, back pain. Not pain, it just felt out of place. And I think it was because when I was editing the leg day video, I pretty much edited all day. And when I'm sitting at my desk, I want to keep my posture as good as possible. And I changed the height so that it's, you know, up high enough so that I'm not slouching down while I'm editing. And I think that caused me to just keep my elbow and my hand a little higher than normal. And maybe that position was just like unnatural. And I had it in that position for so long that it was just like, you know, it's like waking up with a stiff neck when you sleep wrong. I've been warming up for about 15 minutes. It feels really good, probably about 95%, but I guess we'll just see how this goes. My headphones. Oh, my My hair is unfortunately just still wet from my shower. My headphones just slipped off my head. There's no good way to prevent that in this exercise. Yeah, back feels good. So I was worried a little bit that stretching was gonna be a little bit uncomfortable, but it felt great. So definitely gonna drop the weight a little bit because I cheated the 5th rep. Even the 4th rep was a little bit sloppy in all honesty. So if we look at the progress on all of my back exercises in the past year, they are significantly worse than chest and arms and even shoulders. My chest, shoulders, and arms have progressed rapidly, which is good because I wanted my chest. That was obviously what I was focusing on mainly. But my back definitely took a back seat, no pun intended there. But you know, I am obviously aiming to progress on my back, but chest is so much better. My back is already big enough, man. Who cares? Low key, these shirts though are pretty gas, I gotta admit. Great material. I can already feel my headphones falling off my head. I gotta find some sort of solution for that. Those, I think, were 5 decent reps. Ideally, with this machine, you don't want your chest coming off the pad at all. My chest comes off a little bit. You know, obviously, you don't want your chest coming way off the pad at the top where you're not even using your back to lift the weight. A little bit is okay. I mean, ideally, if you want perfect form, you should only be using, you know, elbow drive to just bring your elbows as far back as possible. But I mean, it's up to you at the end of the day. If you want your form to be as good as possible and lower the weight, you know, maybe I should do that as well. But this machine has not increased at all, where it's like, if I lower the weight, it just feels like I've gone nowhere. But whatever. I don't care. I do care, but not enough. Now this has slowly turned into one of my least favorite exercises on back day, mainly because they just take so damn long, especially when you're doing a single arm movement. You know, obviously you want to rest in between, even if it's only 1 or 2 minutes, just because, you know, you build up systemic fatigue on one side that will carry over to the next side. So if you start with your right and move on to your left side, if you don't rest, is going to be, you know, significantly less productive. That's how muscle imbalances occur, even if it's just small. But anyway, I do 2 sets each arm, which equates to, you know, 4 sets total. And I feel like I'm here for like at least 15 to 20 minutes. It just takes forever. But one thing I do want to mention is that if you ever have a D handle like this, where it's very like flimsy and moves a lot, what's going to happen is you're going to start pulling like this, and it's going to end up being a lot like a tricep and a forearm to keep this, you know, in a neutral position. You know, if your gym has one of these D handles where it's locked in place, obviously you can't get that movement, you know, up and down like that. You want to use this. It's a lot more stable. It's going to make sure that your lat does most of the work, or all of the work, that is. And it's just going to be a lot more comfortable. Yeah, it's a good exercise, but it's just fucking boring. So I'm sick of it. Today seems like a lot of complaining. A lot of complaining. Low key being a pussy. So up to a 65 plus a 5 on this machine, and I made the mistake of going up to 72.5. It was literally like trying to pull, you know, Mjolnir out of Thanos' hand. Yeah, this is one of those machines where if you've ever seen like a cable stack like this, you know, every gym has one of those huge cable machines. If you look close, this is just one cable, right? It's kind of hard to see, but this is just one single cable, which means you're pulling 100% of the weight. If it's something like this, you know, it's a little hard to see, but there's 2 cables here, which means you're pulling half the weight. So if I were to do this exact same exercise on this machine, I would stack the machine out because it only goes up to 95. Whereas this, well, it goes up to 95, but I'm doing 65. So that I would require 130 for the same weight. I think the first time I ever did this was when the JPG kneeling pull downs became like a viral thing. And I tried it out and I was like, damn, this actually feels amazing. Well, at that time I was doing it wrong. I had kept the bench too low and I would get it like stretch out my back like this, where, this is just like an upper pull down. It felt good, but it just felt like a normal pull down. And as soon as I straightened out my spine and then kept my arm, almost 120 degrees, it felt like a completely like I had never felt that before. Ever since I put it into the routine, I don't think I ever took it out. I recently just made the change from sped up music to slowed music during my workouts. I mean, it's the same songs, right? The 2010s pop, Rihanna, Katy Perry, Justin Bieber, those types of songs. But I've been listening to a lot of slowed songs, and I've got to be honest, they slap. They actually fucking slap. When I was just listening to Never Say Never, Justin Bieber, slowed, and that is actually gas. Oh, Lady Gaga. How did I forget about Lady Gaga? Half of these songs are Lady Gaga. Bad Romance, Judas, that's probably the best slowed song I've ever heard in my life. I'm picturing when I'm lean, an edit to that song. That's what's keeping me going. I didn't check my phone, I got lazy, and I totally forgot that I was supposed to add 2.5 because I dropped from 5 to 0. I should have dropped from 5 to 2.5. Got an additional rep, but I hate doing high reps on this. I mean, 7 isn't really high reps, but it's just something about when you pause at the bottom, the weight just gets significantly heavier, significantly quicker. A little bit preference, I like controlling the way down. If you're just swinging and letting it go back up, how does that tell you if you're actually controlling the weight with your lat? The problem isn't bringing it down, right? The problem is, are you actually controlling it, and can you keep it there? If you can't hold it there, how do you know your lat is doing the work? And on to pull-ups. I think pull-ups might be one of the only exercises where I don't warm up for them. I like to include at least one warm-up set for almost all of my exercises, mainly just mentally preparing myself for heavy weight. Right, if you jump onto an upper chest press, even if your chest is already warm and you throw 3 plates on each side, you're not really preparing yourself for that weight. But if you do a quick warm-up set, maybe with 2 plates, even if you're just doing 3 reps, just hitting that weight is going to prepare you for your heavy set, where it's not so much of a jump where you have to, push that first rep, 0 to 100, right? You're going 60 to 100 or maybe 70 to 100. It's just a little bit easier in my opinion. Even if your chest is already warmed up, same with back. Pull-ups are a little bit different. There's no weight on a pull-up unless you're doing weighted pull-ups, but I don't, so I don't really need to. 9th and 10th rep were definitely more difficult than they've been in previous sessions. You guys got to remember, I'm 216 pounds now. As your body weight increases, you're getting heavier. Well, obviously, the exercise is getting heavier, right? It's getting harder. So to keep my reps the same is still progress, considering I'm now lifting more weight because I'm fatter. Now, for those of you who've seen my mic'd up back sessions before, you'd know that this is slightly different than the other two that I've done. And that's just simply because I swapped the two first exercises in each routine. Usually on this side, I'd start with a seated row, but instead I did a T-bar. And the reason for that is because, as I mentioned earlier, that fucking lat pull down is just super boring. I'm also not a fan of the seated row. It's a good exercise, but I just like the T-bar better. So if I did seated row on the same day that lat pull down, that back day just stinks in comparison to the other one. I love the T-bar row. If I do a single arm row machine, that exercise is sick. I do overhead dual lat pull downs. I also love that. It's just too big of a difference. From obviously personal preference, the exercises are still great. They've just gotten boring. Now, I've seen a lot of people start doing these single arm as well, where you kind of sit this way on the bench. You know, obviously for your right arm, you'd go like this, where you get a lot more length in position. You know, obviously if I'm leaning over like this, the furthest I can lengthen my rear delt is down here. But realistically, you can go even further than that. This, I would say, probably is better in terms of isolating your rear delt, getting a better stretch, and getting more length in position. You know, from an exercise selection standpoint, single arm probably is the better choice. But doing it dual arm doesn't lose that much stimulus. It saves you time. And again, my rear delts are already a freaking strong point. I don't need to isolate them even further. Now, unfortunately with biceps, I haven't been able to train a really hard set of biceps in probably a month and a half now. And that's just because I had slight wrist pain whenever I did bicep curls, especially when I supinated my arm. It was just on my left side. So theoretically I could train only right side, or I could train left side with light weight, but I only do one bicep exercise per session, which is 2 exercises per week. Biceps are the last exercise I do on the last day of my routine. I'm not really trying to grow them, so I wasn't too concerned. I just kind of took some time off of them. And I only just started doing these again 2 weeks ago. And I'm already pretty much back to where I was, which is a full stack plus a 10. I mean, I just have strong biceps. I don't know what it is, but my biceps are just strong. They're a strong point in terms of muscularity in my physique. A lot of people say training biceps is boring, which I don't know how. I think training biceps is awesome. You don't really have to do too much. They don't require that much effort. You get a sick pump. They look sick. They feel sick. I mean, how do you not like training biceps, man? Compared to something like legs, like you're just lying to yourself if you say you like legs. It's rewarding afterwards, but it sucks. If you've ever trained legs hard, it sucks. You go into that session thinking, yeah, let's train hard. It's gonna be sick. It's never sick. You feel sick, that's for sure. I don't think that was 6. I cheated. I cheated way too much on that 6th rep. I'd say that's 5 reps and a partial. Damn it. I think that's, I've done better before in the past, but for not being able to train this for a decent amount of time, it's not too bad. Last working set of the workout, and I say last working set because I'm gonna do some push-ups before I go pose. I did forget to mention that I did 2 warm-up sets with dumbbells before I did a warm-up set here, a pair of 25 dumbbells and a pair of 35s, just to get, full range of motion, get my biceps nice and warm. I mean, I only do 2 working sets anyway. You guys have seen my previous videos. I would say add this to your bicep routine, and it was 5 sets of 5 different exercises. I mean, it was ridiculous. And I took out the drop set that I used to do on this exercise. It was pretty much just for the pump. And I did slowly realize there's just no point. And we do partials on this exercise. I think probably they're 2 or 3. I guess we'll see. I did try to keep that set a lot more stable. My first set, I kind of shifted to the left a little bit because my left side is a little weaker. This set I think was a little better. I mean, I was using a front view, so maybe a little bit more cautious to make sure that I wasn't showing that. But that's it for the workout. Let's hit some posing. Well, push-ups first, then maybe another set of assisted pull-ups. Get the back pump back. Oh. So that is it for the workout. I just did the push-ups and a set of barbell rows. Just no weight, just to get the back pump back. I only did 20 push-ups. My chest got a little bit of a pump, but for some reason, whenever I train biceps now, they just hurt. Like, it's a good hurt, but it's like, after I was fully extending those push-ups, they get filled with blood, and it's impossible to flex them. Like, it looks like there's no definition of my biceps right now. But anyway, let's just get some posing. Honestly, first off with the shirt, as per usual, it's a nice shirt. I mean, the My Protein shirts are always gas, but I mean, when I start cutting, I'm gonna look freaky, that's for sure. Oh, the back does feel good. I was a little bit worried in the beginning of the session whether or not that little shoulder blade incident was going to make a big impact, but it didn't. It feels fine. And yeah, arms look big. I'm gonna have to maybe I'll do a measuring video before I cut. I think that'd be pretty interesting if I measure like my chest, my arms, my legs. It might make a good video actually. Okay, let's get the shirt off. Me with these headphones on always looks fucking hilarious, but there's just no better way to do it with keeping the mic on. But all I will say is, if I could grow a sick ass beard, like this is pathetic. Obviously, I know I'm just doing it because it looks terrible. So that November 30th comes around and I can shave and I'll look better. But if I could grow a sick ass beard and it could hide the double chin, it would be over because my bulk physique is sick. Like I look great, not great, but obviously I am overweight. But this, I just look bulked up. And I think if I could grow a good beard, it would just be sick because my bulk physique is, I mean, I look like a fucking gorilla, like bear mode here. But the double chin just ruins everything, unfortunately. But let's get a check on the back here. Unfortunately, my side chest, I've got so much fat in my chest now that it doesn't look as good as it used to. I mean, obviously, that's just kind of what happens when you gain body fat. But when I get lean, I think I'm going to look a lot better than I did 2 years ago when I got lean. Because I was like 165, and I was pretty shredded back then. If I'm 175, 180, that's like 10, 15 pounds of muscle in 2 years as a advanced lifter. That's like fucking amazing. So I am excited. And hopefully you guys are too, because I think we're gonna look freaky. That doesn't look too bad, actually. Shot here. I would say that looks pretty decent. I mean, other than the face fat, I would say this bulk was very successful. Looking pretty decent. I'm pretty satisfied with where we are. My back feels good. My lower back felt good today. So hopefully we can hit another good session the day after tomorrow, because we're recording again for November 13th, the push B, and then we start the B cycle of the training session. So hopefully you guys are excited for that. Then we've got the full day of eating coming up soon. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to that as well. And we finish it off again with the 10,000 calories. And yeah, that is pretty much it for the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And I don't know, man. I guess stick with me for the next couple of weeks as we finish the bulk. And then it is time. The long-awaited cut is about to begin, fellas. So strap in. Yeah, goodbye.